In today's video, why U.S. vacation policies are so much worse than Europe's.
We are Greg and Lisa, an American couple living abroad in Spain. If you're curious about the crazy, funny, and surprising differences between the U.S. and Europe, you came to the right place.
Well, hopefully this video doesn't make us mad.
That's the spirit. All right. This is CNBC.
I don't have a lot of hope.
Yeah.
I don't.
All right. Well, let's see. We're about to find out.
The United States is the only advanced economy that does not guarantee paid time off.
We have no federal law saying that you have
Wait. What happened? What I missed?
It wasn't even on.
Give me a chance to settle in for a second before you start making noises.
It's not even on. It's not even like yellow.
Oh, okay. Oh,
because there's no required.
Paid time off by country, paid vacation. Okay. All right. Well,
Advanced economy that does not guarantee paid time off.
It's saying it doesn't guarantee paid time off.
Yeah.
It's up to the employer.
Right.
Most do 2 weeks, but was
no federal law saying that you have to provide a certain number of vacation days. And you have entire cultures like, France is a good example where pretty much everybody takes August off and it's just part of.
Oh,
same thing in Spain.
Same thing.
They take off all of August because it's hot as hell over here. That's probably, but it's true. They do take that off.
Of the culture. You don't really see that here in the United States.
So when I came to France and I noticed that vacation is a way of life, people are constantly talking about their vacations. August 15th is actually considered the emptiest day in Paris.
Europeans in general will say, you Americans live to work, we Europeans work to live.
Even though a majority of Americans do have some kind of paid time off, a little less than half actually take all of their available vacation.
I took some vacation, but it was rare. I could go a whole year without even taking vacation. If I did, it was just like a 3-day weekend or something.
Yeah, I think it was just how our generation was that we just didn't take time off.
It was like a badge of honor.
It was a badge of honor that you didn't take time. I had my boss tell me to take time off.
Right.
Because I didn't want to do it.
Right.
I was proud at a job interview one time saying I took 1 day off in 3 years.
Yeah.
Time.
On average, 4 days a year per individual being left on the table.
So it's like we're brainwashed. I don't know why we just did that. But in addition to us being that way, U.S. companies also aren't giving us the.
Well, it was that way because it wasn't encouraged as much to take time off.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
that's
like
true.
if it was encouraged, you'd be saying, I don't want to miss anything. They were like, no, you're taking time off.
Yeah.
Like, everybody takes time off around here.
Yeah. The mentality was to
like
work, not encouraged.
You don't want to miss out on something.
That's true. As it relates to vacation days.
Something I noticed in America, we have vacation days, but do people actually go on vacation?
There's a certain fear. We don't have any legal protections. And so people have been fired for taking vacation time.
I'm a workaholic by my very nature.
That's actually a really good point. That has, I know people that are afraid to take time off because they don't, and if they do take time off, they don't take off as much. Because if you take off 2-3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, somebody has to do your job while you're gone. And if they do your job better than you do, then you're out of it. So a lot of people don't, they don't take time off.
Oh yeah, we can do this without that employee. So maybe we should slim down and save money. And who knows?
Right.
Nature, right? One of the things that I used to struggle with early on in my career was I didn't want to leave because I was afraid that people would think I wasn't needed. I was going to lose the air of indispensability, is what they call it, right? And in reality, that doesn't happen.
More workers taking a vacation can help the overall economy. If Americans used the nearly 770 million abandoned vacation days to travel in 2019, it could have injected more than $150 billion into the U.S. economy and created 2 million American jobs.
Paid vacations increase productivity, they increase employee well-being. It's also not rocket science. I think most of the evidence suggests that it more than pays for itself.
So why aren't Americans going on vacation? And what can we learn from our European counterparts in France?
This is going to be good. Because those are both good questions.
Yeah.
I want to know the answer to.
Sure.
Europe has taken a different policy approach to paid vacation time than the US.
Hi, my name is Fatima, and I'm an American that has been living in Paris for about 6 or 7 years now. In France, you find less of that, hustle culture mentality, but it does exist. I think there's this stereotype that the French are not like hard workers, but in actuality, you're going to find people or industries where it's expected that they stay in late. Right. It's expected that they work on the weekend.
In the European Union, the floor is 20 days of paid vacation. That's on top of other sorts of paid leave, like paid sick leave, paid new parent leave, that sort of thing. And here we have basically nothing.
France provides a minimum of 30 paid vacation days per year. There are also many European
30 paid vacation days a year. You can't do 30 a month. That's the whole month.
No, I'm saying 30 days.
A month
is
worth.
A whole month.
I was like, what kind of math is this? Okay. My bad.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
Countries that have paid holidays, which pushes them past France for most paid days off total. The reason EU workers have these vacation benefits is regulation. The European Union Working Time Directive, which was passed in the early 1990s, requires at least 20 working days of paid vacation in all EU countries. France has gone as far as implementing right to disconnect laws, which regulate after-hour contact between employers and workers in an attempt to protect.
Oh, that's good. I could have used that.
Yeah.
My phone was on 24/7. You can reach me anytime, text me, call me, anything. But
right, that's true.
That's good. That is good.
Workers' right to rest.
I think the reason why French people take their vacations is because there are really, really strong workers' rights and workers' protections through, the contracts that are set in stone.
France prioritizes leisure time so much that the country established a public agency called the National Agency for Holiday Vouchers, which helps people who may not have the funds to go on vacation.
So everyone knows France is, on vacation in August, which means that come September 1st, that's when everyone returns. And so in France, they have this thing called la rentrée, which basically means everything's back in session. Businesses close for a couple weeks. I'm talking about your local boulangerie, some restaurants, some stores. It really does range. Some offices even say, okay, we're closed for, a week or two. So our employees must take their vacation at this time as well.
Right.
I do not think that the fact that these businesses or stores close actually affects the quality of life. Because at the end of the day, in France, it's really about this idea of working to live, not living to work.
Right.
The U.S. is quite unique. We have no federal law saying that you have to provide, a certain number of vacation days. We have no state laws that say you have to provide a certain number of vacation days to your employees. It doesn't mean that nobody gets paid vacation. It just means that it's up to the employer and the worker.
Nearly 80% of full-time private sector workers in the U.S. have access to some sort of paid time off for leisure. But when you dig into those numbers, there's a huge disparity about which Americans actually get it. Only 43% of leisure and hospitality workers have paid vacation time, while more than 90% of those in sectors such as manufacturing, financial activities, and information services do. Even if the U.S. did mandate paid vacation time for workers, cultural attitudes may prevent people from actually using it. 46% of U.S. workers say they don't use all of their time off. Nearly half of those employees worry they might fall behind on their work if they take time off.
Yeah,
with nearly 20% thinking it could hurt their career growth.
I kind of think too. It's like you're a slacker.
Oh,
I feel like if you're somebody who's like, because I used to know people that would take off like, if they would get that like say 2 weeks, like they might take off like 1 day a month.
Oh, right.
So they would do a 3-day weekend every month. And so they can kind of guess like, dang, do you even work? You're always gone or whatever.
That you're perceived as a slacker.
Right.
Or lazy or something.
Yeah.
And 16% saying they fear losing their job. And more than 40% of workers say they feel badly about their colleagues taking.
That is so true.
Yeah. We're really stopping on this one.
Oh, I don't think so.
It's okay.
It's okay.
It's good.
So I always worried about falling behind at work. And so like even on vacation, I would check emails just because I was so concerned about how busy I was going to be when I got back.
That's true.
And so you're worried about that while you're on vacation.
That's true. I remember that.
On their workload if they were to take time off.
I think in the US, there's this idea that you have to basically fight for your job. Even if you've been in that job for like 5-10 years, you're constantly fighting for your place. You're constantly fighting for your right to stay there.
Some Americans also can't afford to take a trip, especially amid rising costs across the board due to inflation. 56% of U.S. adults said they didn't think they could afford to take vacation last year because of inflation. 1 in 3 decided to scale back their vacation instead of skipping it altogether, and the average respondent's budget was around $1,200.
You just take staycations. Where you just stay at home, stay around, relax.
Yeah.
That's
true. More than 35% of the American workforce are freelancers, which means if they take vacation, it's on their dime. Freelancers struggle with work-life balance, with 92% saying they feel pressure to work on vacation. The flexibility of picking their own...
That's what you just said.
Yeah.
But you're not a freelancer, but still.
Not freelancer.
...own hours and remote work may counteract the low vacation time. More than half of freelancers that get their work from Fiverr say they travel while working. Taking vacation is generally good for the economy.
In 2022, there were 2 million trips taken, spending almost $840 billion. That really equates to a significant economic contribution to communities across the country. It also supports 7 million American jobs. Pre-pandemic, the U.S. travel industry employed just as many people as the U.S. auto industry. And that's very significant when you look at that comparison and you think about how that economic impact really does affect communities across the country.
Vacation is good for us in many ways, and one of those is health, both physical health and mental health.
Taking vacation time is linked to a lower risk of heart disease as well as increased productivity. It can also promote better mental health and has shown a reduction in stress, depression, and anxiety.
We've found a fairly significant link between people taking time off and people taking advantage of their mental health resources.
Vacation days can help companies manage their operations better. Paid time off for fun gives employees the opportunity to plan ahead and encourages them not to call out sick at the last minute when they want to take time off. One study found that 11% of workers said they were planning to miss work the day after the Super Bowl, with nearly half of those workers saying they were either going to call in sick the day of or just not show up and not give their job any warning. Vacation can also help workers be more productive. Workers in countries that prioritize vacation more than the U.S. were more likely to work at a faster pace and have better focus.
I think people have a stereotype of France in their mind as this kind of lazy culture, right? But if you look at the employment rate there for prime age workers, so basically 25 through 54, it's higher than in the U.S. So they have more people working and they're much more productive per hour.
Right.
Companies in the U.S. have been experimenting with different PTO packages to encourage employees to take vacation. One policy proposal is unlimited paid time off. While this may sound good in theory, it doesn't always work out in practice.
I've had that.
Unlimited paid time off?
Yeah, I think the last job that I was on, it was that way. So, but it was kind of implied that you don't want to abuse it.
Right.
Because you could lose it, but it was unpaid time off. You could just kind of take off whenever you wanted. But then, of course, it was sales. So you had sales goals. So the goals didn't change. So it's like you could take time off, but they wouldn't necessarily give you credit for that time off. So, so you almost didn't really want to take time off.
Yes. Early adopters reported that employees took less time off than before the policies were implemented. Another policy is mandatory vacation time, where workers are required to take a certain number of days off. This ensures that employees take time to rest at least once a year. Whether or not vacation culture will change in the U.S. is still uncertain.
In the July 31st New York Times 1910, there's a headline that says, "How much vacation time does a man need?" President Taft says 3 months. This is over a century ago. Why don't we get it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Seriously, I'm voting for President Taft. That's what I'm voting for. Shoot. 3 months vacation. Shoot. You ain't got to tell me twice. All right. Well, what you think?
That was good.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
That was a good one. All right. Let's see what we got here. We're about to read some of these people. Let me see here. All right.
Oh, my gosh.
Which one you reading? You always
Sorry,
read
I know.
first. Which one you read?
Read it first. The second one. Second one down.
You read all that?
No, just that first line.
Okay, I got laid off while on a honeymoon.
Yeah,
I had made managers aware of 4 months in advance. I even worked the day I got married. What in the hell? Small ceremony in our yard.
Mm-hmm. I believe it.
Okay, you think they'd recognize how much you prioritize them, but the one time you choose not to, they show you how nothing is ever enough. U.S. corporations can get bent.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's what the kids say. They can go themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
And what is that phrase they say that I live by as I got older, where your employer will replace you in 2 weeks, but your family will miss you forever?
Yeah, something like that.
It's something like that.
Yeah.
So in other words,
that's true.
Don't kill yourself over your employer because they're just going to replace you. But it's your family who's really going to suffer and miss you.
My relatives back in Europe are shocked at why I only take 2 weeks at a time per year. My coworkers in the U.S. are shocked that I take so much time off. 1 week is the norm here.
Oh.
Managers at my company guilt trip you when you want to take time off.
Yeah.
It's so creepy. They even joke about you not having your job when you get back.
Oh, wow.
Like that's supposed to be funny. Exactly. That ain't funny.
No.
They have no social skills or empathy. I'm like you.
Wow.
Wow, that's crazy.
You're working at the wrong company.
Dang. All right. Well, okay. Well, take your vacations, people. Okay.
Yeah, just
make sure you
do it.
Take care of yourself.
Yeah, take care of yourself.
All right. If you like this video, please do hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. That way you can be notified when we release our next amazing, fantabulous, fantastic, incredible videos.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks for stopping by. Peace.
Bye.